What's going on, Kings? It's Keefe. You know, we oftentimes allow the way that other people perceive us to define our entire lives. But the thing is, we don't have to. What if instead of letting other people define us and put us in a box based on how they perceive us, we decided the way we were going to be perceived by others? Now, that's what we're going to get into in this video, is how to change the way you are perceived by others. Now, before we get into that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and bell icon if you're a guy out there who wants to be the most high value version of himself. Now let's get into the video. So the first thing we need to address is that you need to know what you want to be perceived as in the first place. Here's the thing, guys, you can't show everybody everything about yourself. You're never going to. Nobody does that. You don't show your closest friends or your family everything about yourself. You don't even know yourself entirely. The key to me saying this is to say that there is a persona that you put out into the world. So you need to know who it is you want to be perceived as. Which part of yourself, we want this to be authentic, but which part of your authentic self do you want to be the public part of it? Do you want it to be the wimpy kind of guy, or do you want it to be the like big bad alpha male, or are you the nerdy cool guy, you like the tech stuff, whatever it is, the jock? You got to figure out which part of you that's authentic to you is the part you want the world to see you as. Because if you're not clear on that, that's why the world is determining for you what you're perceived as to begin with. So you need to be clear on your persona. And with that said, you need to craft a persona that is coherent. Let's say you saw some guy, he gets off a motorcycle, he's got a leather jacket on, he's tatted up and all this stuff. What kind of job do you think that guy has? I bet you'd be really shocked if you found out he was like a nanny. Guys like that don't nanny. I mean, guys don't nanny in general, but definitely that guy is not nannying. And you get the point, is because we stereotype. It makes our lives very simple. We put people in boxes. If they have 9 things checked off, we assume the 10th one can be checked off as well. So you want a coherent persona. And that's what these next 5 things we're going to get into are going to help you do. So the first big thing to do to change your persona, change the way you are perceived, is to change your body. Look, I'm sure you judge people constantly off their bodies. It's nothing like to be ashamed about. Everybody does it. I mean, in fact, studies have shown that you're more likely to get paid more, you're more perceived as attractive if you're in great shape. You're also perceived as a leader and things like that if you're just in great shape, because people make snap judgments based on your appearance. It's just how it is. I don't even think it's vain. In fact, I think your appearance and your physical body says a lot about how you take care of yourself, and that says a lot about the kind of work you're going to do, and all kinds of different aspects of yourself are represented through how you take care of your body. Good example of this, I bet when you were in high school, there was probably some chick who, like, freshman year, no guy thought she was very attractive at all, but by senior year, she was like the hottest shit around, right? Like, this happens in every high school. It's either like she lost weight or she got her braces off, whatever it is. She just glowed up, and now all of a sudden her entire persona has changed. Well, it's the same with you. If you go from being out of shape to some jacked guy with abs who's just looking good, the girls are more attracted to you, obviously you're going to be perceived in a different light. The second thing to do is get new clothes. Update your wardrobe. If you're wearing the same clothes that you were wearing in high school, well, everyone's going to think you're the same guy from high school, and you're going to think you're the same guy from high school. You need to update your wardrobe. Put the Nike Elite socks in the trash. It's time to upgrade yourself. Pick clothes that define that persona that you want to have. Like I mentioned, the guy with the leather jacket, you see him in a certain way based on what he's wearing. We all know this. It's so obvious. Go find some clothes that you're confident rocking. Take a risk, something that fits you. You might get some hate for it because it's something new. And when you do something new and you step out of that box that people are used to labeling you in, they get uncomfortable with themselves. Just expect it, accept it. You got to be cool with you. The third thing to do is change your self-image. This has to do with how you're behaving, what you're thinking about, your actions. All of this stuff is the reason that you got pegged in a certain way in the first place. Just about every stereotype and every label anyone's ever gotten has been accurate on some level. So there are certain things that you did in the past, certain actions, behaviors, whatever it was, that caused you to be labeled and perceived in a way that you now want to change. So you need to become aware of that stuff, because I don't care if you get a new wardrobe, if you still act like the same beta male, simpy kind of guy, you're not suddenly going to be seen as an alpha male just because you threw a leather jacket on. You got to have the mind game right as well. So you need to become conscious and become aware of the things you're doing that got you labeled that way in the first place, and stop doing them. Once you become conscious of this, you can start to take new actions. It's going to feel uncomfortable at first, but over time, the new actions actions will become autopilot behaviors, same way the ones that you're doing right now that got you labeled in a certain way became autopilot behaviors. Fourth thing to do is disappear for a few months, because most people are just not going to buy the fact that you made this dramatic change in who you want to be. They're just not gonna go for it, and it makes perfect sense. They have you labeled in a certain way and you suddenly change who you are. Like, of course nobody's gonna buy that. You need to get off the radar for a little bit so that you have a new opportunity to re-ingratiate yourself. If you don't do this and you try to make these changes, but everyone's got you pegged in a certain spot, it's gonna be hard for you mentally to overcome that label that they have for you, because they're not gonna buy the new you right off the bat. So let's say you've always been the doormat of the friend group. You've been the guy who was the butt of the joke, you got none of the girls, and now suddenly you're this alpha male guy. Like, I ain't taking no crap, I'm the boss, I'm calling the shots, like, it's my frame, I'm dominant, all this shit. If you just go step up and try and do that when you haven't done that for years, everyone's gonna check you on it, and you're not gonna be confident enough in it within yourself to hold that frame, and so you're gonna cave and you're gonna buy into their perception of you, and nothing's gonna change. You wanna step off the radar for a little bit so that you can return as the new version of yourself that you want to be. People's memories are pretty short, to be honest. If you give them enough time, they will give you another chance to make a first impression to them. A great example of this with me was with girls. When I was in high school, I was this insecure virgin who was completely shy. Every time I talked to girls, it was like just like sputtering out nonsense. Like, I just had no idea what the heck I was doing. I mean, I said so many stupid things. After a few years, I got the opportunity to see some of these girls I hadn't seen, and I had changed as a person, and as a result, the results I got changed. The way I was perceived was completely different because I'd had time to reintroduce myself and make a new first impression. And the fifth thing to do is do something shocking that the new you would do. Now, be smart about this, guys. Don't go off doing some crazy like shit that's gonna get you arrested, right? But let's say you were the guy who never took risks, and now you do some bold actions, some really bold stuff. Or maybe you were the guy who was kind of antisocial, and you suddenly become the life of the party. Like, you show up to a party and you do some wild shit that like gets everybody's attention. You just got to change the way that people are seeing you, and you can do that through something shocking in your own life. Think about it. Usually when you make a change, it's because something shocking happened. And when other people make changes, it's because something shocking happened to them. They have a heart attack. Doc says if you don't lose 50 pounds, you're gonna die. Now all of a sudden they're really like concerned about their weight, and they go get in the gym and they change their behaviors. If you do something to shock people's image of you, that gives you that opening where you can now change the way you are perceived. High school, again, is such a great example for these perception types of things. So I bet in high school there was somebody you knew, like you were familiar with them. In like, say, freshman year, they were just kind of a nobody, and by senior year, somehow they had managed to become like this really popular person in the high school, because usually maybe they met somebody that was really popular and became really good friends with them, or they did something, or they had some sort of like access to something. Somehow they completely changed the way they were seen and became something completely new. And you can do this. You just got to find a way to do something shocking that new version of you would do. Now, if you like this video, guys, go ahead and click on this one right here. It'll go along really well with it. And also give me a like and hit the subscribe button and bell icon so you don't miss new videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.